as I have said many times before, I am not perfect, and sometimes I will misspeak. And thank you, Larry, for catching me in something that I said in the video concerning Noah's birth, that I misspoke. In the video where I was comparing Noah's birth to the Jesus birth story, I put the part about Lamech not being present at the time frame of his wife becoming pregnant. I put that into Lamech when that should have been put into the Joseph part of my statement, that Joseph wasn't present at the time frame that Mary would have gotten pregnant, and therefore thought that Mary had committed adultery. Since they were already betrothed, then her actions would have been considered as adultery. And I meshed that up with Lamech going to talk to his father Methuselah and then going to Enoch. So that I was wrong in how that was stated. So what I meant was that, yes, Lamech knew that Noah looked weird, looked like one of the angels as far as he was concerned, and went to his father to ask his grandfather about what he should do in the whole situation and what's going on, because he knew that there was something off. It was Joseph who was like, this chick now got pregnant. She's betrothed to me. So she must have been getting it on with somebody else if she's already pregnant. And he didn't want to give her the magic potion in order to verify if this is my child. Because during the time frame of Lamech, the magic potion wasn't around. The magic potion comes much later in the storyline of the Bible. So Joseph would have known about the magic potion. Lamech would not have known about the magic potion. So I appreciate you, Larry, catching me on that one, even though you go further to extrapolate that I must have never read the book, or I'm just lying just to not want to believe in this book. That is far from the truth. It's just a mistake. Just a mistake. I'm not perfect. Never claim to be perfect. But the fact of the matter is, in none of your statements do you defend or take away from anything that I've said about how these stories are just copying each other and just changing certain aspects of the narrative in order for them to fit into your book, and how the main part of that video was the fact that the book of Enoch is not part of your Bible, but it demonstrates how widely read it must have been to those to the people in the early centuries BCE and the first centuries CE. And that is why you find it all throughout your Bible, all the way up to the book of Jude. You will find reflections back to the book of Enoch, which has been considered to be heresy, but yet is quotable in your book. You said nothing concerning that, which is what the main topic was. But I do thank you for bringing out something that I said incorrectly, so that I can come back here and correct it. And I implore anyone and everyone, if I've said something that is not said correctly, please let me know, because I am not so prideful that I can't come back and say, hey, I said something wrong. I said something incorrect. And I'm sure that just as if you went back and looked at one of my videos I made maybe 10 years ago, you will find me saying something then that is different from what I say now, simply because new information has been found. And we should all be that way, where we're open to new information being able to be presented and change our thought process. Because if we're unwilling to change our thought process when new information is brought to us, then that just keeps us as a slave to old paradigms. I've made that statement multiple times before, most of the time using the city of Troy, for instance. The city of Troy was thought to be a mythological city until the 1800s, I believe, is when this German dude, I think his name is Heinrich, actually found the city of Troy. And it's very interesting. His whole story is interesting, of how Heinrich started out and became shipwrecked in Sweden, and then got an inheritance from his brother, who made money in California with gold, started a bank, and then after he did all his stuff, he spent the rest of his life trying to find the city of Troy, because he's always been enamored with that city. And now he destroyed a lot of other ancient artifacts and things of that nature, because he just, used dynamite to blow every damn thing up until he found what he thought was the city of Troy. But he finally did find the city of Troy. So we all had to change our narrative as to whether or not the city of Troy was mythological or not. But finding the city of Troy does not mean that Achilles actually exists. So when you find archaeological evidence that may prove that there was a kingdom of David, does that mean that David killed Goliath? Does that mean that God killed his child that he had with Bathsheba because the child was born out of adultery, and then blessed his child that was born out of them later getting married? It's a whole nother video of stupidity in that one. It does not prove those things. Even if there is historical evidence that a Jesus existed, who people claim, well, there is historical evidence that there were Jesuses that existed that people claim to be the Christ, the anointed one. But does that make the story of Lazarus real? It doesn't. Does that make feeding 6,000 or 4,000, depending upon which version you read, people with a 2-piece fish sandwich real? I mean, fish dinner real? It does not. Does that mean he walked on water? No. Does that make him the Son of God? No. This is just saying what people in the late 1st century forward actually believed, not what is actual reality. So thank you for correcting me. But to make your claim that I've never read the book simply because I made a mistake, then you would have to claim that a whole bunch of people haven't read a whole bunch of books because they may have made a mistake in how they talked about it, right? So if I make a mistake on the Cinderella story, does that mean I've never read Cinderella? If I make a mistake on the Shakespearean play Caesar, which I've read about 30 times, does that mean that I've never read it? That's illogical. That is not that's not the mindset of a thinking man. But I do appreciate you, Larry. And Larry, you have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.